With high costs continuing across our nation, one big talker has been about the housing market and the cost of rent. Joining us to speak on this matter is the Michigan State Housing Development Authority Executive Director Amy Hovey. And why are we still seeing a housing crisis and the expensive cost of rent across mid-Michigan?
Yeah, over the past several years, the country has been in a housing crisis, including our state. And we just don't have enough supply to meet the demands that we have within our state, so the costs go up. And unfortunately, in our real estate market today, it can't be fixed without some government intervention. What Michigan families can afford to pay for in rent is not equal to what it costs to create those additional rental units within our state.
It comes down to the basics of economics. Now, you talk about some of the government assistance that is happening. What is being done to create more affordable, accessible, and of course, safe housing for mid-Michiganders?
Yeah, the state has been working very hard with our partners across the industry to create and preserve housing within the state. In fact, in 2022, our agency put out $700 million to help support these interests. Last year, $2.1 billion was invested throughout the state to ensure that every Michigan family has a place to call home. And we do that by providing grants and loans with housing developers throughout the state of Michigan.
So there are these resources and assistance programs across our area that are there for people to find that help and assistance to get that housing that they need. MSHDA, what more is their role in helping people in our community?
We play three main roles in the housing industry within our state. One is we provide loans and grants for the development of multifamily rental housing. We develop about 5,500 units a year through that program. We also provide rental assistance for our most vulnerable families in the state. Over 30,000 families within the state of Michigan provided rental assistance from MSHDA. This is familiar to folks as Section 8 vouchers, right? And then finally, we have a single family mortgage product, which provides with $10,000 of down payment assistance, which helps families get into home ownership, which is the most stable type of housing for families throughout the state.
Helping people have that foundation to just get into a house and have a roof over their head. You talk about the assistance for the low-income families, those individuals as well. What about middle income?
Yeah, because of the housing crisis and our shortage. So to put this into measures, we're about 119,000 units short of housing throughout our state and over 5,000 units short in this region that we're sitting in right now. So because of that, we're seeing folks higher up the income scale not be able to afford housing in this area. So we are trying to work hand in hand with the state funding to be able to provide the development of housing for families between 80% and 120% of area median income, which isn't something our agencies had to do in the past, but because of today's environment, we're having to look and help other folks. We have teachers, firefighters, police officers. Just think about the people that you come into contact with every day who can't find a place to live.
That's a shocking number that you mentioned. 119,000 people in the middle income section who are looking for that affordable housing. And like you said earlier, it comes down to supply and demand. The state budget was recently passed October 7th. How is this budget now going to help MSHDA continue helping people address the housing crisis?
Yeah, well, we are very thankful for the support of the governor, her administration, and the state legislators. They continue to provide us with $50 million of our housing community development funds, which will allow us to leverage additional funding from the private sector and the federal government to get more housing done within our state. Now, we continue to ask the state for the most flexible type of funding to allow us to meet the very different needs in different regions throughout the state.
Looking for that funding to help families and individuals, no matter their walk of life or what they're facing in their life. Amy, thank you so much for addressing these issues and for joining us on Mid-Michigan Matters.
Thanks for having us.